Well, hello friends, Coach Bob with you today, and today is day 3 of the Florida Adventure Trail, the Western Panhandle from Tallahassee to the end of the trail. We are north of Navarre, west of the Eglin airfield area, and we are heading north. It's been beautiful. It's been all pavement this morning, but I can't really complain, man. It has been just wonderful. But I know today is going to have a lot of adventure in it, a lot of fun. So make sure you stick around and enjoy it. But before we get going, do me a favor, give the video a big old fat thumbs up, because you know a regular one won't do. I know want a big old fat gravy-laden thumbs up. All right. Then be sure to leave a comment. I want to hear your opinion. The Florida Adventure Trail, I just want to say that every time I get out and I do anything, regardless of where it is in this country, it always exceeds my expectations. And the Florida Adventure Trail has been no different. I've watched a lot of videos, you know, like you know, maybe many of you were doing the same thing that I was doing, watching this video going, man, I'm thinking about doing the Florida Adventure Trail and I don't know if it's worth my while. We're going to do a sit down with Ken and I that we're going to do after we finish all 3 sections. We're doing the Panhandle. We're going to do from Tallahassee down to Ocala, and then from Jennings down to Ocala, and that'll close all 3 sections. It's roughly, you know, 1,000 miles, somewhere around there. We've been putting in pretty reasonably big days. We've gotten big miles, but you know, there are times you have to hop off the trail. You have to get gas. You have to get to your accommodations. Are you going to hit every inch of the trail? Well, you can if you have an unlimited amount of time. We had 3 days. So today is obviously day 3, so we've got to finish today, which we're going to, but we've put in long days every day in the saddle, in excess of 6-7 hours, you know, that general area. It's been long days, and that's not time out, that's time riding. You know, you got to stop, you got to get gas, you want to eat lunch, that sort of stuff. So plan on it taking all day if you're going to try to do this section in 3 days. If you're a reasonably good rider and you can keep rolling through the sand and stuff, you'll do fine. You can do this in 3 days. It is a wonderful ride. The sand, let's talk about the sand. The sand over by Tallahassee, around Tate's Hell and all that, but actually between Tallahassee and Tate's Hell was the worst. In fact, Ken has a name for it, you know, but it's deep. And when I say it's deep, I'm not like sugar sand, just hammer down and roll through it. I mean, some of this stuff is literally 8 inches deep. It's over your rim. You can bypass all that. You don't have to ride through all that. And if you're curious exactly where, my email is attached to the community part of this channel. I can send you screenshots of where to avoid if you want to avoid the sugar sand and not deal with all that. I can certainly help you out there. I don't mind doing it. But the beauty that this thing offers, rural America is absolutely spectacular, and we get so caught up in our lives and in the city, in our busyness, the internet and all of the things that we contend with, and all of a sudden we forget that this is even out here. I just can't, you know, push you enough to say go out and enjoy this. I mean, look at this. This is insane. I didn't even know this was here. So, all right, well, it's going to be a beautiful day, so enjoy the ride as we experience the end of the Florida Adventure Trail on the Western Panhandle. I'm going to see what this looks like up here. We might be going into off-road mode real quick. I'm going to stay in road mode, Ken, because we're only on this like a couple of 100 feet, and that right turn could be pavement. But a lot of it's like this. You don't have a turn-by-turn map. You just have a line that you're following. And you'll get to a section where there's multiple roads and you're going, which road. You just have to turn on the one that it appears to most align with, and you just stay on that line. If this doesn't turn back into pavement though, we will go into off-road mode on the motorcycle. But that's how it is. Your dirt, your pavement, and you look just beautiful, narrow, one-lane forest road. Big pothole though. You got to look out where you're going. This is absolutely beautiful. Hole up here, just stay right. We may be turning around. I see a big old water hole up here. Now, I don't know how bad it is, but we'll look and see if we can get around it, because I ain't riding through that. That thing is swallowing the car. Looks like these guys went to the right, so I'm gonna do the same. Yeah, there's plenty of room over here, and it's solid. I'm just staying to the right of that big trough there. And if it gets too ugly, we'll just turn around and go back. I don't know how bad that's going to be. I mean, there's a path there, but that bush is in the way. The left, that side over there looks soft. Like soft. Well, here's the thing. If you mess up, we're here an hour, so I say let's ditch it and, you know, turn around, and hopefully I won't get stuck turning around. That's a bear. I think that'd be a bear. See, look at, you see my back tire sliding sideways? Yeah, would we make it through? As long as we had the perfect line, we would. Hang on, give you a hand. I'll push you back. Here we go, we're there. Alrighty. Yeah, you were in a big old, see that big hole right there? Alright, let's see here. Let's look at a workaround here. It don't look like there's much of a workaround there, brother. Looks like the way is one way in, one way out kind of thing. We'll find out how deep it is. Oh, I'm in road mode. That thing was going crazy. This is the end for us. It's heavy sand and very, very deep up here. This kind of stuff you lose a Jeep in. We had that big rain 2 nights ago, so we expected some water, but this much up here. Is it crossable? It could be, but you can't. Yeah, you can't see the bottom out there. That could be 4 feet deep right there. I ain't gonna risk that, I'll tell you that. Not for 3 miles. We're 3 miles from the end, so yeah, we won't do that. But it's been great. Yeah, it ain't worth that. That's up there. It looks reasonable, and you can see the bottom. It looks beautiful, and then all of a sudden the bottom just disappears. It could be 4 or 5 feet deep. Yeah, it's gonna be super slick. All right, well, let's turn these puppies around just like that. I'm going to be going through the right. I'm going through the right side where you went through. It looks better than what I went through. Yep. Now what? All right. Whew. All right, that is super deep soft. I mean, it's like a foot deep. That's nuts. Quack, quack, baby. Right through, though. Beautiful. Nice. You made it look easy, man. That was easy. This time I'm in off-road mode. Hopefully that crossing will be a little smoother. I'll go and then I'll get video of you. Oh yeah, that's a lot easier without the engine chopping itself. Big Kenny. Nice. Beautiful, brother. Cafe in Baker, Florida. I'll use the hill to help me get down the hill. All right, so as you can see, we are back. It's been a few days. The trip was great. So the last day, let's talk about the last day real quick. We get up, we tear everything down, we hop on the road. We got some blacktop to get on, we ride it, we get past all that. We jump off in the woods, and the roads were perfect. Perfect. They were perfect. That's what they were. We had some clay, we had some mud, we had some sand, but the cool thing was not so much that, it was the terrain.
We got a little bit of everything that last day.
It was good.
I mean, that's how I view it. I mean, there was everything except sand. And
we just had that one little section of sand. Remember that road we got across?
Yeah.
That was easy for you. That was nothing. It was child's play.
Yeah. Everything's easier without a windshield.
Oh, by the way, if you notice, he's got a new windshield.
Oh, yeah.
Looking nice.
Thank you, Florida Motorsports. Real quick, I went online thinking I could get a windshield cheaper. So I was hunting a windshield. Thank goodness I called Florida Motorsports and had them order me a windshield, because it ended up being a third or less of the cost of the ones I found online, and it's the factory one. Sometimes your best option is to just go
with the local guy.
Yeah, just because it's online doesn't mean it's cheaper or what you want.
I was really surprised at how cheap it was. I mean, we're not going to tell you the price, obviously, because that would be uncool, but I don't think they really cut us a deal. I think it's just the Triumph pricing on it.
I had a 5-minute conversation with him because I was sure that he was not charging me the right amount. Seriously, I was like, it can't be that.
And then I was doing something that day with the kids, and Ken gave me a call. He had already put it on. You'd gone down there and picked it up and installed it.
It's very easy to put back on, actually.
I figured you would want to feel the wind in your face a little longer.
No. Thank you for making me save all the hardware.
Oh, yeah.
In the heat of the battle, if you were angry or just disgusted, you could just take that thing and heave it. And when you have to replace it, you have to buy every single piece separate. So every screw, nut, washer is, and you don't know if you're getting the correct one. So you talked me into, you were like, we save all that hardware, and I was like, yeah, you're right. So save your hardware.
Save your hardware. Always save your hardware.
Yeah. The roads were, it was everything. It was it was dirt, gravel. Then we got in those fire roads later the day, and they were up and down and Rudy and
That was fun. That almost felt like the old mountain bike days when we were young. We used to ride mountain bikes together and jump ramps and over stumps and all that stuff. And that's what that afternoon felt like. It felt like that, except for I wasn't as tired.
That's exactly the kind of trails it were, like double track mountain road or mountain bike.
Went down one road, and it was getting wetter and wetter and wetter, and we got to this clay water hole. You couldn't see the bottom of it, and beside it, to get around it, you were going to have to ride through clay, and it looked like vehicles had gone through there, and the ruts were like a foot deep. And we were like, if we drop a motorcycle, if we get in that rut and it falls over in that water, we would literally never be able to retrieve a motorcycle, because it would have, the handlebars would have been, bike would have been upside down in a water hole, stuck in a big giant clay pit.
I'm so happy that you made the decision to not go through there, because I really did not want to go through there. But I was like, if he goes, I gotta go.
I gotta go.
But yeah, I'm very happy you were like, no, we're not doing this, and we turned around.
Yeah,
I think the first thing I would have done is just parked the bike and jumped in. No, just jumped in and got covered in clay and mud and wet, because that's what was going to happen anyway. Yeah, what the hell? That
was literally a no-win situation there. Yeah. I don't think even, I mean, obviously someone who's, say, a sponsored rider who doesn't care about not tearing their motorcycle up, they would ride through there. But I think most rational human beings would look at that obstacle and go, this is just not a good idea.
Well, you couldn't see the bottom. We went through a stream,
but
we could see the bottom. We could see it was rocks.
Yep.
And so we knew we could ride over it. Water was clear. This was a mud hole.
Yeah.
I don't even think you could have walked out there and tested it by walking.
You couldn't. You'd have sunk up to your knees in clay.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think you would have got, stuck out there.
And then the very last water hole, we were probably, I'm guessing, looking at the map, less than 5 miles from the end of the trail. Yeah. And there was a water hole. It was probably 30 yards across. You could see the bottom for the first 5 yards. And then beyond that, it just disappeared. And there was no way around it. We'd had that big rain the night before. Now, I have an old Jeeping background, and I know this. I've seen guys up to their windshield in water before. And I'm thinking, this just doesn't feel right. So we snapped a Yui and headed out, and we were done.
We're old. We have a little, we have a little maturity behind, like somebody younger or maybe with not quite a developed frontal lobe would have just gone through there and maybe done great, but maybe not. And if you're a sport rider and you have a support team, well, who cares? You're the rider. If everything goes to heck, you just get off the bike and go sit in the shade until everybody pulls it out. But I don't see how we could have gone through either one of those spots.
I have a name for those riders that part of the brain called hippocampus. They're just hippocampus.
Well, I'm joking, but I'm not joking. That being able to come up on something, use good judgment, and go, listen, we don't have to do this. This is
supposed to be fun, he said.
Yeah, yeah.
Buy a motorcycle.
Yeah, it doesn't have to. You don't have to make it painful.
After we got on the road, we headed eastbound. We stopped in a little town called Butler, and you saw that. We ate at a little restaurant called Gators.
Even the gravy was fried there.
Yeah. They put the gravy in a balloon and fried it, and then popped the balloon and put it on. They fried everything. It was good, man. Yep. And it was cheap. I think we ate for like less than $20.
That was one of the happy surprises of this thing. The town's off the beaten path.
Yep.
We found some really cool local restaurants. The food was great. When you're in a little town like that in the South, if there's chicken fried steak, fried okra, and cornbread on the menu, you've got to order that. Oh. But everybody was nice. That guy struck up a conversation with you.
Yeah.
He talked to you for 10 minutes. Like, thank God I don't have to talk to him for 10 minutes.
Yeah, Ken's ears were ringing by the time we got back. Y'all know I'm a talker.
You didn't overtalk on the trail. If you did, I couldn't hear you.
You were too busy cussing. You couldn't hear me.
Oh yeah, I was too busy digging out of the dirt. That was only day one. Day two,
Day
and day
2 and 3 were not. Yeah.
They got better every day. In my mind, the riding.
The more we got out of all where it was nothing but sand, it's okay. You know, we discovered also on day 3, riding through sand isn't bad. It's just riding through sand all day.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's okay to ride through it for a mile or two and then have 5 miles of cool terrain with roots and clay and mud and all that,
Yeah.
and then get back in the sand again, but to just be sand.
Like I told you earlier, I'm like, well, I got to get out and do that again.
Yeah,
Because I feel like it got the best of me in a way that I feel like if I knew what I was doing, I would do much better. Not that I want to do that. I don't, but I want to be able to, you know, I don't want to go ride in the sand just to ride in the sand, but there's no way to avoid it, right?
It's kind of like going to the dentist. No one wants to go, but we go every 6 months.
But, you know, even the second and third day, we hit some small spots that had sand in them. So you got to be able to negotiate that. And I do feel like I got better. And so I think I just need to get out there and, you know, I've gotten a little advice, some of the comments, but also I watched some other videos, and what I thought I should have been doing was pretty much correct. I just wasn't doing it. Once I really learned to trust the bike and the engineering and everything that went into it, because the second day we started out on these farm roads, you know, way out, and those rocks were rolling underneath the wheels.
And so the bike was unstable, but it was enough, but it wasn't totally out of control.
Right. Well, it wasn't unstable. It just wasn't like riding on the road.
Yeah, yeah.
And I had, you know, and once I got comfortable of kind of dancing with it, I don't know how else to describe it. That sounds silly, but letting it move, do what it's designed to do, and don't tense up. You know, stay in control, but don't overpower it. Don't overcorrect it. It wants to come back to correct on its own.
Right.
When the bike is doing this,
it just
and you're in sand, I mean, and that's all about doing it.
Yeah.
Doing it over and over and over again until you're confident that, you know, nothing is going to go terribly wrong. I mean, and if you fall, you fall. I don't like falling. But, I mean, I fell 3 times, and, you know, they weren't at high speeds at all. You know, you can fall over. You can drop the thing and fall over.
Fall 3 times in the deep sand if you want to. Twice off the bike.
Yeah, it was twice off the bike. Third time was really off the bike.
Third time was really off the bike. We went to lunch today, and we've been talking. We've got an idea of maybe, you know, sometimes it's hard to get away for 3 days. So we're getting to where we're thinking we could leave any morning and do a piece of the Florida Adventure Trail and come back that afternoon if we need to, or go out for one night of camping, ride half a day, then turn around and come back. And it might take a little longer overall to get it accomplished. On a more important note, if there is anything more important, there isn't, but we'll go ahead and say it is. I say we, and by we I mean Ken, explained something to me today that he experienced, and I experienced it too, but he put it in words in a way that maybe I can't really do it. And that's where the impact that this trip had. So, you know, you leave and you get on the motorcycle, and I can describe this part pretty well. You get on the motorcycle, the voices of the world are in your head, right? The cell phone, the internet, the computer, the tax man, the whatever. Fill in that blank with that list of people that are constantly haranguing you. Even if it's people you love that you want to be there haranguing you, right? And then you get out on the trail, and then the voices stop after a little while, because all you can do is focus on what you're doing. And there is a peace and a beauty in that that makes you really, really appreciate the outdoors, appreciate the silence, the solitude, the beauty, the sweating, the whatever, all of it. And then you get back, and then weird things start to happen to you.
Don't know what you're missing. Well, how can you miss something you've never had, right? It's kind of one of those things. It's just what he said. The way this trip for me, before we even left, I got a little anxious. I'd never done this before. And so I was like, it could go terribly wrong, or it could go well, or it could go, I mean, I don't know what to expect really. Done riding, obviously off-road, but I mean, this is a whole different thing, right? You know, we're going to be self-sufficient, out, away from everybody. Anyway, I was kind of like a little nervous. As soon as we got on the trail, it took so much concentration for me to not wipe out constantly that all I could focus on was the ride. And once I got in that zone, I didn't come out of that zone for like 3 days. Everything else went away. I felt like I went, you know, it sounds weird, but I felt like I went to the moon. And because all that was there was the bike, me, Bob, of course, and the environment. You were so far ahead of me that I couldn't see you, so it was like being alone. I'd be like, is he still up there? But anyway, so it really was, my mind went to a totally different place. What I told Bob was like, it was like the first time we did Ironman. We trained over a year for that. And when that was over, a lot of people will tell you that you kind of go through a withdrawal, because it's like, all right, what do I do now? I've been spending all of my time training, practically. But anyway, I kind of had that same feeling after I got off of this 3-day trip. I got home and I got that same type of, all right, now what do I do? And I thought about my family, my wife, my kids, my grandkids and everything a lot while I was on the 3-day trip. And I missed them. I really thought about them. There weren't any other these everyday distractions of things that I feel like are important every day that I let run and rule my life. And out there I realized I really don't have to do that. And I got back. It made me appreciate the ride more. But then after a day or so I was back home, it really made me appreciate my friendship, my wife and my kids and my grandkids, and this life I have that I'm blessed with. I don't know how else to explain that. I don't know.
It's weird. It does. It spills over into all of these other arenas in your life. And it doesn't feel like it should. It just does.
It's been 2 weeks, probably. I still feel different. I don't know how long that'll last. I mean, I know that, you know, this can wear off too. Things can change. But I mean, then you just go for another bike ride.
That's right.
But it really, the mind part of this whole thing, the mind-changing part of this, or attitude part of it, is big for me.
And you know what? That's kind of something that you don't really see coming. You expect to ride, you expect to fall, you expect to develop skills, all these things. And I'm going to use this word. Maybe this might be a strong word. The mental health aspect of it. It's like a healing is occurring. The world is so fast and everything's changing and moving so rapidly that when you can slow it down just a little bit, you can appreciate everything more. Everything.
Because I was out, away. You know, it was like somebody picked us up, picked me up, put me in a totally different place, environment, physically and mentally, that I would rather spend my time doing that.
Yeah.
It's like a simplification of like what brings you joy, what brought me peace and happiness. You know, that's really, again, where the bike came in. I think when Bob happened to show up again with this crazy ass idea, I'm lucky to have somebody that's as crazy as I am. I probably was, at that time, I was like, you know, I'm retired. Am I living the life that I thought I wanted to live at being retired? Am I doing, you know, I've had this idea that, you know, when I'm retired, I'm going to be able to do whatever I want anytime I want. I think that's unrealistic.
It is.
And you shouldn't do that, because you still have obligations to people in your family, and you need to give and take care of people. But I wasn't really like the adventure part of it. I was like, go west, young man. And then he shows up with this idea about buying this motorcycle I always wanted and actually using them. That would be exciting. But what I experienced on that 3-day trip was what I think I was looking for when I bought this bike originally. Good. It came to fruition to where I really, the first 30 minutes of it, I was like, how much can I get for this thing with the bags on it if I sell it? It's like, you know, it looks beautiful. I can probably sell it immediately. to, by the end of it, like, this is exactly why we got these bikes.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what I was hoping this would be like. And it's only going to get better, right?
Yep.
I mean, right now I'm just picturing these trails and what we're going to see if we get out west. And coming around a curve or coming over a hill, and you know, what are you going to see out? I mean, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And that's the whole reason we started this journey. And now I actually feel like I can see that happening.
I want to say this because a lot of people have an idea of what an adventure is. So let me tell you what an adventure is. What makes you, Ken, Bob, what makes us feel adventurous? It doesn't mean that I have to ride the most difficult trail in the world. It doesn't mean that I have to kill myself. And I'm learning that because I've been the psycho a lot of my life. I want to push, and I'm learning to just enjoy the experience. In this trip, I will say, I enjoyed every minute of it. I've laughed so hard, my guts were hurting. I've cried so much when sharing my deepest thoughts with all of the things that I've been through with my daughter's death. I've sat quietly a couple of times, and I talked a lot, and it was great. It was great. All of it was great. And the adventure, this is another thing that we agreed upon. I think that if you go out with somebody, you only have to have two primary rules. Rule one, you ride until either rider goes, I do not feel comfortable going through that. And that's where rule two comes in. No complaining. The person that's riding, you can't complain, go, well, yeah, well, I think you can do it, I think you can. And you try to coerce them into doing something that's going to hurt them. Whether it's Ken trying to get me to, jump over a boulder, or me trying to get him to, cross a big giant water hole. Then he drops his bike in the water hole and totals it, and then there I am. Oh, well, you're welcome. I don't want that to happen. I want both of us to go home fulfilled and happy. There is not 1 inch of that trail that I needed to do that I didn't get to do.
There's a few inches of that trail that I probably didn't want to do that
It's probably because I was
not because you
Right,
made.
right,
but
right.
What you're, first of all, I trust, complete trust, and second of all, knowing that I can say or do just about anything, it's okay.
It is.
I mean,
yeah.
if we got to a spot and I was like, I am absolutely not doing that, I know that would be okay.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'd have to worry about disappointing you. To me, it'd be like, well, if you really want to do that, go ahead, or come back another
later
time.
and do it.
Come
Right.
back another time. Whatever you want to do. And the same goes with you. I mean, if you ever said, listen, I need to stop this whole thing right now, we need to turn around and leave, we would turn around and leave. And that would be it. There wouldn't be any arguing or coercing or trying to talk you out of anything. I mean, that just comes with trust.
Maturity, depth of friendship,
Yeah.
all of that stuff, and that's where having the right person, we've gotten a lot of comments, love the bro love, that was one of them, great comment by the way. The other was, you guys are really friends, the way you can pick on each other and laugh. And that is that thing.
Black mesh bikini.
But
I did have to watch Bob Chains once, but
that's right.
I guess I could have turned away.
No,
I think I did.
It's like looking at a car wreck. You gotta look. The thing is, we have been through so much together in our life that this trip is just an extension of all of the things we've been through together, and that we can laugh and have a good time. That friendship, you need to find that friendship, and you need to work on it and foster that and grow it. Just like you have to get physically fit, you have to be friendship fit as well. And that requires, like Ken, he probably has to try harder than I do, but that's okay. I don't mind being the weak link. I'm okay with that. And I enjoy everything we do. Everything we do is fun.
You know, Bob and I have known each other for 25 years. Hurt together, had fun together, and I mean physically, trained painfully together. You know, run miles and miles and miles together in the heat. Biked hundreds, if not thousands of miles together. That builds friendship, that builds trust. We've seen each other in our best, our worst, and everything in between. We trust our lives with each other.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing about when we're out there riding, no matter what happens, we're not alone, and we're not leaving each other unless we have to leave one another to save the other person's life.
And that was the thing I told Ken today when we were talking over lunch, is that if I were dying on the side of the trail, I trust him with my life. I trust him to make sure that everything's taken care of. And if that, again, that means if he has to leave me in order to have the opportunity to save me and I die in the process, I trust that decision before it happens. And so there's a deep level of trust. So I wanted to get that part out there so that whoever you go with, make sure you trust them with your life, trust them with your secrets, trust them with all of it, because there is no hiding out there. When we were training for Ironman, there's no hiding. When you're exhausted and fatigued, whatever's on your mind, it's going to come out. It's there. Make sure you're traveling with somebody you really care about when you get it to do the deep water stuff.
All I want to say, last thing
All I want is this ashtray.
and this lamp, and this dog. That's all I need. What was that girl's name that rode the motorcycle in that thing?
Oh, I can't remember.
That like was.
I'm gonna be getting money soon because this weekend she's gonna give me my job.
Yeah.
More cans. There's more cans.
Anyway, you got to work at this. This just doesn't happen. I mean, there's two things I always remember. There's two things. That first Ironman training, I remember I got up at 4 in the morning one morning or something to go to your house to go on some ridiculous 15-mile run through horsefly and biscuit, whatever. And I mean, we were months into this thing. Full-time jobs and families.
We had done like a 10-hour bike ride the day before.
Oh, yeah. I show up at your house. I'm sitting at your kitchen table. I don't even have my shoes on yet. And I remember I just looked at you and I went, if you tell me to go home, I will. And you said, let's go. And we put our shoes on and went. That's the kind of person you got to have at your side, right?
Yeah.
That I got to tell the story.
Tell the story.
We were on a training ride. One of our 70-mile, 100, I don't know how many miles, training days, where we were going to ride hours and hours and then come back, get off the bikes, immediately run. So we're at this turnaround point in our bike ride, which is called the St. Mark's Lighthouse. We're riding together.
It's a little damp outside.
Yeah.
Morning fog, morning dew.
Yeah, it was nice. And we make this loop in the parking lot. I happen to be 6 feet, 8 feet in front of Bob, who's on my left, just because of the turn, whatever. And the parking lot is paved. There's nothing in it. And I look down, and there's this rock. One rock, about the size of my fist, doesn't have a round side on it. It's nothing but edges. And I look down, and I see it. And I almost said something like, rock, because that's the kind of stuff we did.
Yeah.
But my second thought was, there's no way he's not going to see that rock. It's huge,
It's too
and
obvious.
it's the only thing in this whole parking lot.
It's the white rock on the black paper.
Right. So I don't say anything, and I pass it, and right when I pass it, I hear BAM! And out of my vision to my left, here comes Bob on top of his bike with his bike sideways, sliding past me. And I look over and I'm like, uh-oh. And I'm on the edge over here. There's a retaining wall about 4 or 5 feet high. And there's swamp out there. And as he goes down, and because he got on the metal rim, his tire went completely flat. He actually is going faster than me. And he's sliding by. And he goes, "Save yourself!" And puts his hand out and puts his hand on my hip as he says it, "Save yourself!" And he pushes me.
That's what friends are for.
And I'm on the edge of this wall. And of course, you know, wherever you look, you're going. And so I'm looking over the wall, and I'm like, sticker bush? No. Alligator? No shit. Mud? No. And I can't look away. And I'm going off this wall. So I better decide, I'm going to pick where I go off. So I just ride right off this wall. Go off the thing. Front tire goes sideways. I go over the handlebars through a sticker bush, jump up, and the first thing, he had come to a stop by then.
Yeah, I stopped sliding. My skin stopped.
Yeah. The first thing that happened was we both jumped up and looked at each other and went, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" Yeah. And then we started laughing hysterically because it was funny.
The rest of our training session was always, "Save yourself."
Save yourself. To this day, save yourself. I had mud from my ankle all the way up the side of me to where my hair was sticking out like this through my helmet.
You remember when we left there, that park ranger, he goes, "What happened to you guys?"
Oh, yeah. And we reenacted.
Yeah.
Well, there I was. Then I fell. We got up, fixed your tire, straightened out the tire on my bike, finished our ride, and then
Went for a 2-hour run.
went for a 2-hour run.
And then got up the next morning and ran like 18 miles. We were
So
skinned-
that
we were skinned up too, boy.
Yeah, really. That's the kind of stuff that builds trust, is what I'm saying. That's all I wanted to say about that.
I'm just glad you saved yourself.
Me too. I don't know how I did. That was hilarious, though. I can still hear it. Save yourself.
I can still see it in my mind as I was going down. I'm like, and the thing is, as soon as I go, rock, wham. All right, well, there you have it. Another one in the books. So I want you to do me a favor. You, go out buy the motorcycle of your dreams. Could be something like these two. Eat right, take care of yourself, and remember, if you're not having fun, you're most definitely doing it wrong. Now, you go seize the day, and I will see you on the road or the trail real soon.